Alright everybody, so I got an interesting game for you here. This is a scouting match, and it's usually not that easy to make scouting matches look that great. Especially for a video. Here, let me turn down my commander's voice a little bit. Alright, so basically I see that I'm low tier, and my plan is pretty much just to work this inside line of the lake here, and I want to spot guys that are going uphill, I want to spot the guys camping here, and eventually I'd like to spot the guys that are over here. Now this is kind of an interesting game, not just because of scouting. Scouting sometimes is a little uninteresting to watch. I'm going to speed it up to double speed, because I slowly approach. I kind of take a look, and I move from bush to bush. It's pretty easy to see what I'm doing here. Nothing extraordinary. But it's important, I'm going to go back to normal speed, it's important to be cautious, because if you get lit and you're low tier like this, you're not going to survive very long, and that's just common sense. You can maybe survive 1 or 2 hits. Now, the reason I'm being so aggressive here is you'll notice on the enemy team, they really don't have any scouts to speak of unless you're talking these guys, and usually they're not going to go there. So we get our first spot over by the church, a Wolverine, and artillery starts to work on that, and also the M4 that we see going up the hill. We're just barely spotting him as Cupolla's just sticking over. And that shows a little bit, again, how spotting mechanics work in this game. As long as the point on your Cupolla makes contact with a point on their Cupolla, it doesn't take much. Just had their T-67 pop into view there. So I'm sitting absolutely still, and the number one rule, of course, it goes without saying, but I'll say it anyway because a lot of people don't know it. You cannot fire. If I were to fire right now, number one, it wouldn't do much. Of course, it's a machine gun round, but and more importantly, it would destroy my cover. It would wipe out it would basically cause my camo value to decrease by a factor of 3. It would knock out my bush here, and it would just be a bad thing. And then nobody would have anything to shoot at. But you have to know when to move up, and that is about time right now. And I'm sitting here trying to coach some of our newer players about, you know, the enemy coming down off the hill and whatnot. But so we get going, and we really need to get their flag area lit, so that's what I'm trying to get at right now. I'm basically going to be just spotting the woods and this area. It's kind of interesting. Now you gotta really check and make sure that you're fully inside the bush. If you stick out a lot, the barrel can stick out. That won't bust your camo, but you have to make sure and check the front. Make sure none of your tank hull is sticking out. So you notice we just lit that AT2 there. We're lighting an AT2 here. Well, in chat, apparently this guy he didn't see his sixth sense go off or something, and he thinks that somebody is hacking. And I actually didn't notice this when I was playing the game, but he made some comments in here. He was pretty frustrated because he's feeling like, hey, I'm taking fire and people are shooting at me and I'm not lit. You know, my success hasn't gone off. But in reality, he has been spotted, and maybe it was lag and he, you know, didn't get the message from his sixth sense. Maybe he didn't see it in the heat of battle. I've done that before. If you just have the teeny little light, you don't see it. And he's getting pounded there, and so he's pissed. You know, it happens. And he's saying, you know, right now someone is hacking. I didn't even get spotted. And I didn't reply to it. I didn't see it. I was pretty intently keeping an eye on the whole battlefield. Notice the Excelsior and the T-14 making kind of a suicide run there against artillery and being lit by that camping T-1 heavy. So here is a case where a heavy camping in the rear did kind of give us the help that we needed, because all of this artillery then was able to work on that, and I was lighting for other things, like mostly the Stug and the M4 who are back behind me. The Stug and the M4 end up doing real well with my, actually I'm feeding them damage and they're feeding me spotting. Now for the final push into the base. Still working with my team here, talking to them, communicating with them, letting them know what I'm doing. Talking to the artillery and letting them know what you're going to be doing is very helpful. That helps them to pre-aim in on areas. They know you're spotting for them. So I'm not really, see, now look at this guy. He's pissed. He's saying he's going to make a ticket to wargaming, and I'm not harshing on that guy. I've been pissed like that before, where not about hacking. It's really kind of hard to hack in this game. It's a server-side game, and not like other games. And hacking is so common in so many other games that a lot of experienced gamers think, man, there must be hacking in here too. And it's actually quite difficult to hack a server-side game. But anyway, so he must have not seen his sixth sense going off there, so he's having a bad game. He got a not-so-good team there, so he's kind of pissed. So I think this last Churchill, I don't know what his deal is. He was acting kind of weird. His gun barrel wasn't moving, so I figured he was AFK. He's tracked, so I'm going to keep moving. I'm not really worried about him lighting me, and I'm pretty sure this M4 is still a little bit further away. So as long as I keep moving, I'm not really worried about getting lit. You can see we're still calling in heavy fire on him. Not Churchill just spotted me. I'm spotted for the first time. I'm uncap, and they're just working him over. He never did even turn his gun barrel towards me, so I'm pretty sure he was AFK. Now I'm kind of asking for the KV-1S to not fully cap out. I want to go and get this last guy, being the greedy bastard that I am. And he's cool about it. He agrees not to cap out. The Stug I'm feeding the Stug and so much damage. He wants this too. He's probably already aiming in right now, getting ready to chew up this M4. I like the M4 here, and I need to keep moving, so I get a little defilade on a hill. He's a pretty new player. He's got all white, so he's either a reroll or a new guy. And we end up taking him out right here. Now I get lit there for the second time only in the game. So there we go. That was just a pretty good spotted game. Now wait till you check out these results here. Let's take a look at that. Here we go with the end cap results here, uploaded to World of Tank Replays. Got a first class on that. Man, you wouldn't believe what you have to do to get a mastery in a Panzer 1C. I get probably 2 or 3 a month, and they're usually pretty crazy games. Got a scout medal off of that. Patrol duty. Top XP, couple of medals there. Only shots we fired were going to be on that artillery. 32 of them, 14 of them hit, 9 of them penetrated. We spotted 9 vehicles, did 2,228 spotting damage. You can double that, and that's how much hit points we took away from the enemy. Basically, we did 4,400 and, whatever, XOD. So travel a little bit, but anyway, decent outcome, and that just shows you really how, if you understand the spotting mechanics of the game, you can really I'd say if you had to name a most valuable player on that team, it would almost have to be that Panzer 1C, even though it did not hardly a point of damage. Lighting your enemies like that is just devastating to an enemy team, and I'm telling you, I really feel like scouting is so underrated, so unappreciated, and people just don't realize just how much of an impact you can have on a game without firing a shot. And I know this is only a tier 3 little, whippet, but, that was a tier 5 game we were in, and I think that we really contributed, quite a bit there, undeniably. So, play those scouts, man. It's fun. It can be really fun. I know everybody likes to play the big guns, and I like to play the KV2 and whatnot also in tier 10s, but don't ignore those little light tanks too, because that's a different kind of gameplay, but you can do it. I play a lot of heavies, and you can do it. If I can do it, you can do it. It's not that hard. As you can see, it's really not that hard. Just got to be smart where you go. So anyway, thanks for watching. Throw me a like or subscribe. CyberKnife out.